either player, what does aerial power's passion in games mean to you guys, and how contagious can that be?
Yeah, I think it's great. She's someone that she feeds off so much energy, and she always has a lot of energy. So I think for us, just making sure that we always match that.
Steph holding them to 60 points today. What did you see that was so effective from you guys defensively and really turned this game?
I mean, our aggressiveness, our attention to detail, our ability to contest without fouling, to be disciplined, in that area, I thought was huge.
And I love when I see her hype up the crowd. Everyone gets involved. But I think AP, just what she brings to us, that aggression, just getting after loose balls, it's great.
It's like the third time, and every time I just keep remembering that I'm not as young as I used to be.
Brittney Griner, one of the most dominant centers in WNBA history, just had the toughest game of her playoff career, benched late and visibly emotional. But here's the shocking part. It wasn't just Griner struggling. It was about Aliyah Boston taking control of the paint, rewriting how matchups are decided at the highest level. How did Boston shut down a legend and lead the Fever to their first semifinals since 2015 without Caitlin Clark?
What stood out to you about able to get going? It looked like there were some turnovers elsewhere, and so you kind of put it into your own hands and had that nice run before some foul calls.
Yeah, I think for me, just continue to be assertive. Just reading the defense, trying to get good possessions going.
The third quarter, just speak to the importance of that, and that kind of feel like sort of like the backbreaker for Atlanta, so to speak, when you.
Yeah, that was great for us. That seriously was scoring the ball and then getting that tip and then Lexi hitting that three. I mean, the energy, everyone felt it. The crowd was going crazy, and we just used that momentum into the fourth. If I just get the ball, feel it out, see where the ball needs to go next, whether that's shoot it or pass it. I mean, I'm just kind of just taking what the defense is giving me.
That's the story you won't want to miss. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
So you've had a lot of moments with this franchise throughout the years. Where does leading them to a playoff win at home kind of rank among those?
I don't know. It felt really good to see ourselves on top and do something great for a change. When it comes to us being resilient and have to fight off a lot of ups and downs, backs and forth. And so it felt good for us to really, come out on top tonight. Oh, man, it takes a village. I think we all piggyback off each other within our group and our organization. So I think it took a collective group effort to be able to be here. And I think that our first win here was big for us because...
Imagine this. Brittney Griner, the same player who has dominated the paint for years with size, strength, and pure skill, is standing on the court looking frustrated. She's catching the ball in her favorite spot, but instead of turning and finishing like she's done thousands of times before, she's being forced into uncomfortable shots. And the reason is simple. Aliyah Boston is standing right in front of her, refusing to let her get anything easy. A second-year center is making one of the greatest bigs of this generation look like she's out of rhythm, and that's not something anyone thought they'd see in a playoff game. This was set up as a classic battle between eras. On one side, the established veteran who built her career on overpowering defenses and stepping up in huge moments. On the other side, the rising star who came into the league with expectations of becoming a franchise cornerstone, but still had plenty to prove in games that actually matter most.
Tamika was in the building tonight. What does it mean to you, like, to have a legend supporting you from the sidelines?
Yeah, I mean, you said it. She's a legend. Anytime you have a legend come into this building, especially Tamika being who she is.
Speak to the emotions of a win like this. Kelsey already kind of touched on it, but what's the vibe like in the locker room after you get a dominating win?
Yeah, I mean, everyone was happy. The vibes were really great. I think, just like Kel said, this was super big for us. I mean, it's just amazing. I saw her before tip, and I just, like, the biggest smile came across my face because, I mean, you're competing, but Tamika was here, and she really put the Fever on the map. And so for us to be in the same position, getting a first playoff game here in a while, it's just great to have her.
And with everything on the line, the young and hungry Boston wasn't afraid of the bright lights. She was determined to show she belonged on the same stage. And it didn't take long for the matchup to feel like more than just a battle in the paint. It felt like a shift in the balance of power. What makes this so surprising is Griner's reputation as one of the game's best closers. Normally, when the clock runs down and possessions carry extra weight, coaches draw up plays to put the ball in her hands. She's used to punishing defenders with quick seals under the rim, bullying her way through contact, or knocking down smooth turnaround jumpers. But this time, the script completely flipped. When her team needed her the most, she wasn't even on the floor. That's how much of a problem Boston created. Griner was left on the bench, watching. So how does this even happen? How does someone in her second season manage to shut down a legend who's seen every defense possible? The trick wasn't about chasing highlight blocks or swiping at the ball. Boston stayed grounded, keeping her body in position to cut off angles before Griner could even make her move. It was almost like she was a step ahead, pushing Griner just far enough away from her comfort zone to make shots difficult. Instead of catching the ball under the basket, she was catching it a few feet further out. That slight difference forced fadeaways and awkward releases, and little by little, it took away all of Griner's signature moves. And while Boston was busy locking up her assignment on defense, she didn't slow down on the other end either. Her offensive game showed layers most players her age are still learning to develop. One possession, she was muscling inside for a finish through contact. The next, she was on the boards pulling down rebounds, then shifting gears and setting up a teammate with a sharp pass out of a double team. She wasn't just holding her own. She was controlling the entire flow of the game. And when it came down to the final moments, she was the one putting the ball in the basket to seal it. That's the kind of performance that stays with people. The hardest part to watch came when the cameras showed Griner sitting on the sidelines with tears in her eyes. For someone who has built her career on being reliable in crunch time, that moment summed everything up. It wasn't just that the shots weren't falling. It was the realization that someone new had arrived, and she was outplaying her in every way on the biggest stage. On the other end of the court stood Boston, unshaken, standing tall as if declaring that the paint now belonged to her. Moments like that aren't about numbers on the scoreboard. They're about statements, and Boston's statement was loud. This game didn't just look like a rough night for Griner. It looked like the definition of a shift in style. The days of dominating purely with size are giving way to a new type of center, one who combines strength with footwork, awareness, and versatility. Boston isn't trying to copy what came before. She's setting her own model for dominance. Watching her, you realize the future of the position has arrived earlier than anyone expected. And here's what makes it even more surprising. The Fever pulled this off without Caitlin Clark on the floor. No star rookie point guard controlling the offense. No high-volume scorer commanding attention. Instead, it was this young core banding together and finding belief in each other. That improbable win wasn't just about survival in the playoffs. It was about proving they can do it with resilience, even shorthanded. What we just watched was bigger than the Fever moving on. This felt like the moment Aliyah Boston stamped herself as a centerpiece who can carry a franchise for years. She didn't just survive against a legend. She controlled the game on both ends. And here's the real question. If she can do this without Caitlin Clark even playing, what happens when the Fever are fully loaded? That might be a scary thought for the rest of the league. Do you think this was the passing of the torch in the WNBA? Drop your thoughts in the comments.